Yo, what's going on, Eagles Nation? This is your boy, AK Eagles, and this is another episode of the Eagles Uncensored podcast. And I have with me tonight the man, the myth, the legend himself, Gayle Saunders, 1/3 of the Fourth and John. I appreciate you coming on here, man. It's been a long time since we've talked, beginning of the year, before the year even started. So I got a lot of questions to ask you, and I want to pick your brain tonight. I appreciate you taking some time away from the family and business to join me tonight.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on, man. It's always good to chop it up. We're going through the off season, draft season, and then I think we're all, we watched the Super Bowl just happen, and
Yep.
it's starting to be a couple years removed from the Super Bowl. So it's like, how do we get back there? Everyone's talking about how do we get back there?
Yeah, no, I saw some articles today about how Howie Roseman should follow the Rams path to the Super Bowl and stuff. There's a whole bunch of people out there thinking they know the answers to it. So yeah,
Hey,
no, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah, no, I like that face though. No, listen, man. Like I said backstage before we started, you were one of my first guests I ever had on this podcast. I think you were like 4 or 5. It was before the season even started. So I just want you, and I know you go to a lot of the games, so you're there and you see the eye test and everything. Talk a little bit about this team this year. Tell me what you saw, what you liked, and if there was any like young stars that we should keep our eye out for, future stars that you've seen, whether it's Williams or Jackson or any of these young talents, man.
I mean, overall, you knew going to the season, some people were like, it's the rebuild. I was always like, it's a retool. They're gonna move some pieces around, try to figure out what works. We obviously got to see them in the early stages go through this period of time where they had Jalen Hurts out there throwing the ball too much, and we were like, this is weird. Like, why are we doing this? Obviously, I don't know. Eagle fans are like, run the ball, run the ball. They really didn't come to their senses until like mid-season. It was really weird being at the games and listening to the fans going to the run the ball chant, and just like nothing really made sense. Even in that Carolina game, you're just like, it's just the offense didn't make sense. But I felt like Jalen Hurts came into his own, probably mid-season, kind of like took the bull by its horns and kind of like gave the team some identity. Him running the ball, him making some plays out there, some splash plays, but giving this team a leader on the field. Like, now, if there's a difference, does he have to be the franchise guy to be a leader out there? No, but he led this football team when they needed it the most. Team rallied around him, and they all came together. They made the playoffs, man. So, I mean, it's at the end of the day, them making the playoffs. I thought that was a success for how this team was set up this year. So, I mean, you talk about the younger players that really flashed to me. Obviously, Ivanti Smith. Still think he's a route guy junior. I think, I think he's still got a hole left. I think, he almost made 1,000 yards this season. I thought Gainwell played fairly well. You talk about Quez Watkins stepping up, for a guy who's been a level of consistency, whether it be open practices, the ones that we attended, to preseason, to during the season, a guy who stepped up when you needed to. Milt Williams, a guy who I think he's just getting started. He's got a little twitch for a big man down there. I think he's definitely progress. I think Sweat is on his way to becoming one of our stars. Darius Slay. I mean, he's not a young guy, but I'm just saying in general.
Yeah.
Just hat tip to him to giving this defense some edge, making the Pro Bowl. Who else can I say?
Any linebackers besides TJ Edwards, obviously?
I mean, the linebacker position to me is just like they need to upgrade. Speaking of upgrade, I mean, we're locking in an interview with Chad Muma from Wyoming.
Oh, okay.
He's a mid-round prospect out of Wyoming that could be interesting. I think Eagles do need to hit the draft again. But you know how it is. You know how the Eagles, how they look at the linebacker position. They're not going to sprinkle in a first round pick. So everyone, I think they have to stop mocking a linebacker in the first round. I hate to say I've already changed my habits. I'm like, yeah, it's not going to happen in the first round. I don't believe. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, dude. I tell everybody all the time. They're like, "Well, what are we going to do?" And I was like, "All right, think the way you think, and then do the complete opposite." That's
Like,
what
does it
we're going
make
to do.
sense? That's not what we're going to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So speaking of the man himself, Hurts. It was a rough start, good ending to a very rough playoff game for him. You know, let's dive into that a little bit. We have had multiple people out there who are fans of ours say they want Russ. We've had fans out there saying they want Watson. Even Aaron Rodgers if he would become available. I think we're safe where we're at. I believe he's deserved enough to have one more year, but I want to hear it from the man himself. You've been in this game a long time. You've seen a lot of quarterbacks. What do you see out of this kid, and can he develop into what we want him to be? And I'm with you, dude. I don't think you need a elite QB to take us all the way to the promised land. I'm with you on that. But does he have what it takes? Pretty much is what I'm asking.
Well, I love his mental makeup. I love his he definitely has a presence, and it's kind of like you need to have that kind of thick skin to be a quarterback in the city of Philadelphia. Obviously, he's a guy that everyone loves to root for. You're never gonna have to worry about this dude off the field. For the most part, everybody is backing him 100%. I mean, before he even was the starting quarterback, the stuff I was hearing about how players were gravitating towards him, how his relationship with Quez Watkins was a thing before it was a thing. And like
Yeah.
you started to see that translation on the field. You saw it right before your eyes. So the players rallied around him, and that's something that you can't take away from him. You talk about developing as a passer. Like, this is where we're at. Like, obviously we got to see him as a starter for his first year and getting us to the playoffs. That's great. So where do we go from here? Does he develop as a passer and become more of a consistent threat in the passing game? Because that, at the end of the day, that's really what it is. Like, we know what he has with the legs. We know he's a talented runner. You know that he stresses defenses in that fashion. But for him to move forward, he has to be able to flourish between 2 and 3. We know he can get to the first read. Defenses that are now like, you take away his first read, bracket over the top, and make our 2 and 3 beat you. Now, if we don't get someone quality across the way that can consistently, beat one-on-ones, then it is what it is. Like, because that's where he's falling apart between the second and the third read. Like, and then mechanics. You look at his mechanics on some of the throws that he's missed. Like, just like, go back, and I encourage everyone to always go back and watch the film. Don't listen to, like, obviously we're all in our own forms kind of media, but I feel like y'all should, everyone should always go back and watch the film, see for yourself, see where he's misses, see where his technique might be off, where's his feet, the ball placement when he's, rushing things, or, taking, sometimes, like, there's a part where I think he just needs to be ready to throw at certain times and not, like, fidget in the pocket, and his mechanics have to be all in sync. Like, his arm and his feet have to be in sync for him to really step into some of these throws. Like, and you'll see it, and you're just like, all right, dude, you missed that one. Okay, I saw the timing was there, you saw it, but the ball didn't get there. Like, and that's what and that's where I feel like the franchise, as us fans, obviously we can be patient. We can sit here and, like, all right, we'll wait it out. 3 first-round picks. It's awesome. But the Eagles forecast things. So for me, with the Eagles having 3 first-round picks, I feel like they have 3 first-round picks for a reason. So I feel like, they're in stuff that I'm hearing. They're already lurking. They've been lurking. They've been
Yeah.
sniffing around the Watson train, and they've been sniffing around Wilson, and now then you see your Albert Breer making his thoughts out there. It's funny because I was down at the Senior Bowl, and we were in a bar, and it was like Albert Breer and Ian Rappaport, and I'm sitting there like, Adam Capman was in there, Jeff McClain was in there. I'm like, it was only like there's like 20 of us, but I'm sitting there like, I wanted to be on that side of the bar. I was like, what are they talking about? Because I would love to be, and that's really what the Senior Bowl was about. Like the Senior Bowl, everyone comes down there, like NFL media, scouts, you name it. So you're hearing things in elevators, you're hearing things at restaurants, overhearing people like talk about things. But
Yeah.
you definitely know. I just have a feeling that something's going down, and if they're in 100%, we don't know. But the window is, in a way, open. So if the Eagles feel like they need to pull the trigger, if they don't feel like they can get the offense to where they feel like it needs to be, then you'll see them make a move, and you'll see them package Hurts in a trade, and that will be, I mean, some people will be, you just know how, like at this point in time, like no one's tied to jerseys out here. People are like, I don't know who's gonna be here, but overall, I just feel like it comes down to if the Eagles are going to be patient. Are they going to be able to feel like he can develop? If they feel like he's going to be able to develop, he'll be here another year. But if they've already made up their mind, seeing like a Matt Stafford trade go down, that trade, when some people said that's too much. Well, if they got a Super Bowl making a Matt Stafford trade, it wasn't too much. So it's a copycat league. So everyone's like, did you need elite QB play? Like, hey, we had Nick Foles, we're rolling with a backup, right? So it's not, we can't always say like, oh, we need it, because we won with Nick Foles. He played on godly levels, but that's a question that we all have to ask ourselves: is can the Eagles front office be patient?
Yeah. And that's the thing too, man. I made the notion the other week, like, it seems like whenever Howie and Nick had that presser right after the playoff loss a couple days later, it for once in my life, at least watching the team, in my 33 years, and as long as Howie's been here, it seems like Nick and Howie kind of have a connection, for once. Like I kind of heard Howie talking a little different in that presser, like how often and how many times did we want to hear Hurts was the starter at the beginning of the year, and they never did it there for a little while, even though they did with, he had first team reps the whole time. They kind of told us that way, but they didn't vocally say it. There's many times we wanted them to do it and they haven't done it, and now they did. So that makes us all like, oh yay, but then you have this stuff in the background. And I was kind of on the lines of, I'm not so worried right now about Howie. The one I'm worried about is the man upstairs, Jeff. Howie might be on the level of Nick where he's like, hey, let's do what this guy wants. Let's see what happens. And it only takes Jeffrey to be like, no, I don't want that. I want Russ. Go get me Russ now. And I asked him, does Nick and Howie both have the balls to stand up to this man and say, dude, you got to let us do our jobs? Probably not. But, that's my worry, is not so much Howie, but more of Jeffrey.
You see his son down there with him down at the Senior Bowl. You see them walking around the sideline. Like, I do feel like, I feel like I think they're in tune. Like, I think Lurie has a bigger play in a lot of these moves that, with a guy like Howie there, he can always have his way. If there was another GM here, some of the moves that you might not have thought have been Lurie, they could have been Lurie, but because Lurie has his say, like we've heard from players where they said, I've never seen Eagle players that are saying, I've never seen more hands-on GM and owner in my football career.
Yeah.
All the way to like practice, routine practice. Like, why is the GM and the owner like involved in day-to-day operations there? And the thing that you talk about, that closeness between Howie and Sirianni, I feel like, because they have their hooks in on Sirianni. Like, obviously, he's a younger coach, and you have a GM that's guiding him, a seasoned GM guiding him. But I think it's a joint effort. I mean, I think you do see that with Sirianni, and you look at the body language of like Howie when Sirianni speaks. When Sirianni speaks, he's like, it's not like, hey, go ahead, you go ahead, do your Belichick thing. It's like, no, did we talk about this on the script? Like you, but I do feel like, is the relationship growing? Potentially, yeah. I think it got old with Doug. Doug was probably like, dude, I don't need all this hands-on stuff. The fact that, he's out after winning a Super Bowl years later, that's kind of speaks to like the involvement as a group. So I do think it's definitely a group thing. I think the son also is involved. Larry's son is also involved. So I feel like, we'll see, man. Like, because you hear things and you're just like, all right, I'm trying to like, because I'm always listening to what out there, whether it's a Watson deal being in place, but he didn't want to like waive his trade clause, or like, them doing the background on Watson. Like, are all the cases going to be, are there going to be any issues? If all those are clear, could they pull a move? I'm just saying, like take everything out of the equation right here. Like, you as an Eagle fan, right? You're owner of a football team, right? What kind of offense? I'm just like putting it out there. Like, what kind of offense do you want to run? Like an explosive offense, or a high-powered run game, dink and dunk offense? Like, if you're paying for it, what kind of offense do you want to run?
Whatever wins me the most.
I mean,
because I believe you can win in the NFL with a run game. We did it in 2017, for crying out loud. We had a heck of a run game, but I believe you also need an air raid too. But it's just how your team is built, pretty much, is what I'm saying.
I think you have to be able to push the ball down the field. Like, you have to take shots. Our offense wasn't really built like that. I think young wide receivers, your 2 and 3s, not like, super separators over here. It's like you got a quarterback who has some accuracy issues on top of younger wide receivers. That's not really a combination for. So like that veteran presence that Ivanti Smith is talking about, Eagles are here. There's, talking about Juju Smith-Schuster.
Yep, I heard that.
Bringing in, and I've been hearing that for like weeks now. So the fact that like now I'm hearing it out on the streets now, you're just like, oh, okay, or Leonard Fournette, guys like bringing in like a power rushing game, or like if they're trying to get that ground and pound a little bit behind this line would be nice. But also you have to think, what did they tell Jason Kelce? Like, why did he come back? Why is he on all indications pointing him come back? What do you think the sales pitch was for him to come back? Have you thought about that?
I have. We all know that Kelce said he'll play as long as his body allows him to. So I like to think that he's only coming back because he knows he can squeeze one more year out so far. But I do understand where you're going with that. But listen, I said it earlier on Hunter's show. I was on with him at 6, and my question is, okay, you go out and you make this move for Russ. All right, I believe he's $17 million against the cap. is what this coming year will be, right? Around 17 mil, which is actually not that bad for somebody of his status.
Yep.
You know, it could be a lot worse. But we only have 22 million in cap space as well. We got a lot of holes to fill. We got a lot of defensive players that are on their way out. Cox soon, BG soon. McLeod's probably gone this year. You know, I expect McLeod and Barnett to go with Doug down to Jacksonville. In all honesty, that's where I expect them to wind up in free agency. But way too many holes. Does bringing Russell Wilson here truly fix that? Does it automatically make you a Super Bowl contender with throwing to the likes of Rager? And granted, you said Quez, he's on the up and up, but that he has to keep it that way. You know, but you're leaving Lockett and DK and whoever the heck the other guy is. I don't watch that much Seattle games, but you know, granted, our O line is better than theirs, our tight end is better than theirs, but our defenses are damn near the same. You know what I mean? So, what's he really gaining by coming here, and what are we really gaining by him coming here? Is he really going to make Rager the next big thing by coming here? Like, is the quarterback really going to change Rager into an A+ receiver?
I think I wouldn't say that. I think they're trying to move him out the door anyway too. So I think the consistency level as a passer will be there. I mean,
Yes.
there's a lot of plays that were left out there.
Mhm.
I think those plays would be made by Russell Wilson. At the accuracy issues were never a thing with Russell Wilson. Like, he's just always been. I mean, go back to NC State, Wisconsin. He's always had that whip of an arm as a passer. So I think, you know, if you feel like he can take your offense to the next level. I mean, I do think he take the passing attack to the next level. Deshaun Watson would take the passing attack to the next level.
Yeah.
I do think the offense would be better. And I think a lot of Eagle fans are always saying, like, Wilson has, you know, he's been a great quarterback. He had a down year with an injured hand. So, like, I'm not going to, like, all of a sudden just look at Russell Wilson and be like, no, he's not a good quarterback, because I love Jalen Hurts. I mean, like, I love Jalen, but I just know his limitations right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's Mr. Limited versus Mr. Unlimited. Like, no, I'm just saying, like, he has his limitations. So it's just is what it is. So if you go out and draft him some big body targets, some guys who can get the yak and, you know, give him some real threats of, like, you have to, like, give him some playmakers now. Like, if you're going to bring him back, then you got to get him some playmakers. I do like, you know, from a contract standpoint, you're playing your starting quarterback $2 million, like, and then, you know, use some of that draft capital on some playmakers. But I'll also, just being at the Senior Bowl, seeing Malik Willis play, I was like, if they fell in love with Malik Willis, would I understand? Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with his game down at the Senior Bowl. Like, I was like, okay. Yeah. I know he's got the mobility, but he has the arm. Like, he has the arm. And the way that he was throwing the rock around, like, he broke records on, like, they have, like, the zebra technology where they track how the balls are being thrown. Like, he's got some gas, dude. Like, and he has some wheels. So, and you're talking about if you were throwing a first round pick, middle round pick, I think he has potential to go to top 10 now. If they fell in love, I could understand.
I could too, man. Listen, this is the way I describe Malik. He is a stronger, faster Jalen Hurts and a smaller Michael Vick. That is exactly how I describe him. You know, he has one hell of an arm. He can make every throw. He is faster than Hurts. I believe he's just as strong as Hurts. You know, but he's smaller than Vic. So
his zebra technology they had on him, on the speed, only one other quarterback ran faster than him once last season, and that was Kyler Murray. So hey, Matt Corral. Matt Corral. He also brother little. I like the. He's the slinger, gunslinger. He takes a lot of shots too, man. Like Corral he got mad. He's got guts.
Yeah.
Sam Howell. I'm sitting there watching these guys. Like, the fact that the access that we had at the Senior Bowl was kind of crazy, man. I met Malik Willis, great dude, really good dude, very very humble. He had the rest of the team rooting for him. Because you think Sam Howell, Kenny Pickett, those are the big names. Like, he had the team. The team loved Malik Willis. Carson Strong was down there. Had the big arm. Not really super accurate, but it sucks that Corral got hurt, though. That I would have loved to see him out there competing.
Yeah. I mean, in your eyes, who's probably the best QB prospect coming out in this draft? Because there is a lot of people out there that say if you can't definitively say one of these guys will be better than Hurts this year coming out, to not go with them. Because ultimately, if you're going to just draft another Hurts, you might as well just keep Hurts. So, in your eyes, who's your best?
I think I'm going with Malik if you're looking for the upside and like the ceiling. Like, you're looking at Pickett. Is he a guy that he can come in day one and start and like give you some, run the offense? He's also an Eagle fan. We got a chance to speak to him, and he said, he won us over real quick. He's like, hey man, there's nothing like the link, man. And I was like, hey man, I was like, I love to hear that. That's the kind of stuff I like to hear. But the thing with him with the small hands, everyone was like, he had issues on the second day throwing it with the rain and everything, But Malik Willis was a guy who just pretty much stayed consistent as the week went on. There's Ritter out there too. Ritter, but
I'm not a big Ritter fan.
I'm just saying, like, he's out there too, but like, he got better as the week went on. Again, like, I was like looking at things that I went into Senior Bowl looking at, like, okay, is Malik going to separate himself? I felt like he did for me. But I know teams will probably fall in love with Kenny Pickett too, and as these interviews that we're not privy to the interviews, and which were going on down there. I was like, man, I would love to be a fly on the wall to hear how some of these guys interact with teams, and because it only takes one team to fall in love, and I definitely feel like the QB hungry teams, whether it be Washington, maybe the Panthers dabble. I know Mike Tomlin was on the sidelines walking. He was following Malik Willis everywhere, But yeah, I mean, like, because we were down there and I got a picture with Malik. But yeah, man, he had that arm. That's the thing. Like, those are the kind of things you can't really teach. You got a cannon. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of stuff.
He throws dots too, man. He throws some nice dots. I watched a lot of his film. I've actually watched him before our season started this year, And listen, when you look at Malik Willis and what this kid can do, if I was Nick Sirianni, that's exactly what I wanted my offense to look like under Jalen Hurts this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what if you could imagine Nick Sirianni's offense, go back and watch the tape on Malik Willis this year. I guarantee you that's what Nick wanted his offense to look like.
Because I started watching him early in the season, and then I'm like, damn, this Malik Willis. I'm like, he's like Jalen Hurts, but this is the first thing I said. I was like, this is like Jalen Hurts, but with a better arm. Easy money is that he is the Matt Corral
enthusiast. Yes.
Yeah. I'm not gonna. Hey man, Corral has his fans too. I just think you got to chill out with the running style, dude. He's gonna get hurt. He'd be trying to truck, dude. Howell too. Howell's reckless too, man. Running the ball.
Yeah. No, That's the thing, man. There's only really two quarterbacks in this whole draft that I like, and that's Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. And the only reason that I like Kenny Pickett, man, is because he reminds me a lot of Justin Herbert. You know what I mean? Like, he's got that big frame. He can get away when he needs to get away, but he has one hell of an arm too. You know, and obviously, I mean, Justin Herbert's not there yet, I would say, you know, but I believe he will. He was my dark horse to win the MVP this year.
Yeah, he played well, man. I think he's and a lot of these guys, they went down the Senior Bowl and that's where they separated themselves. You know, like that's where they made themselves some money. Whether you go back to Wentz, you go back to guys like Dak, a lot of these guys separated themselves down at the Senior Bowl, and like if they showed up, like these guys ended up getting drafted in top 10, top 15. I think that's definitely going to happen. I mean, Washington's looking for a quarterback, unless I'm not going to even say it.
I know if we're on the same wavelength here, were you thinking of C-Dub?
Who?
C-Dub? CW?
CW
Carson?
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Okay. No, listen, and that's something I wanted to bring up too, man. Carson is probably going to be on the move March 18th. You know, he's either going to be traded or dropped. Now, granted, if he gets dropped, I don't know who's going to get him. In fact, I don't know if anyone will. But there might be one team out there
like a do like 15 mil.
15 mil. Right. They're going to have to eat 15 if they release him. But listen, I've heard potential trades to Tampa because supposedly Bruce Arians is infatuated with Wentz. I've heard Washington. I have heard the Giants. I've heard a couple places, man. So
that'd be wild if Wentz comes back to NFC East.
I would love it. I want to crush him 2 times in a row, man. That'd be awesome.
I think Wentz he's a guy that I don't know whether he's just not fully healed after these injuries. He's just not the same. He's just not the same player after injury.
It's mental, right? You'd say.
The twitchiness that he had as a rookie, like the cross body shake against the Giants, and he darted across the field like. The guy had the twitch, the talk about the no look spin out against the Bears when the eyes in the like, bro, like where's that? That when we talk about taking shots to the back because he couldn't feel his back and they're shooting him up with like against Minnesota, like he was deteriorating, but he was like Captain Save It, bro, because he couldn't help himself. Like he wanted to win, and I thought he did his body took some punishment, and just never got back.
Now that is the question I'm going to ask. You know how we sit here and we talk about Wentz always looking for that big play, always trying to extend it further to get more. Do you kind of see that trait in Hurts a little bit? Do you feel that's why he doesn't release it right away and he waits?
I think he's always trying to make a play. I think that gamer in him comes out where he's like, he knows he can extend the play. So I think he tries a little bit too much in terms of holding on to the ball. I mean, Wentz was terrible in that fashion, but yeah. I just asked to answer Easy Money's question. I was actually out in LA for the Rams game. So
Gale's everywhere, Easy. He's everywhere.
I try to be. I just think there's parts where it hurts his game where, stepping up in the pocket, eyes downfield versus getting out of the pocket. We're not trying to like McNabb the thing, but the fact that of maneuvering in the pocket, eyes downfield and letting it rip, like you go back to plays like, where he's throwing guys open. That's a level of where you want the quarterback play to be. Like where he's throwing guys open. I mean, you saw the no look pass by Matt Stafford.
Yeah, I was dirty.
Like quick, because I've said this about Hurts' game, I'm like, I said, I'm not, not to say that he can get there, he can't get there, but I'm like, eye manipulation is the next level of his, like, starting to move the safety, hold the safety,
Yeah.
that you saw how he manipulated the safety just by eye movement. And we're talking about next level QB play. Like, that's where I'm at when I'm like, I don't know if the Eagles believe in if he's there, because I feel like Eagles are always out here looking for the next guy. Like, you would know if they're, like, to me, that they're not married to Jalen. It doesn't feel like it to me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like sitting here like, I don't know, because the way all the stuff I'm hearing, I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like they're married to him.
Shut up, Blue. How dare you throw me under the bus like that?
Come on, man. See, I got the Sixers game on too, but hey, man, it's a good time to be alive as a Sixers fan.
It's a good time to be alive as a Bulls fan too.
Like some people weren't old enough to see the last Sixers win a title. I was like 5 years old, so
wow.
I saw the last one.
That's cool.
I know. Are you a Bulls fan?
Yeah, man, through and through. I've always been. I was born and raised during the Michael Jordan era. I went to a Michael Jordan basketball camp when I was younger to learn to shoot like Michael.
Okay.
That guy was my ultimate hero growing up. So, yeah, I've always rode with him. Now, I made a stupid bet this year with Mitch. He's a huge 76ers fan, too. And I told him, I said, if you guys beat us in the playoffs, I said, I'll drop my Bulls because Michael Jordan hasn't played in so long anyway. I said, and I'll join the 76er crew. Well, that was before you had Harden. Now that you got Harden, I'm like, shit, I should have never made that bet.
Hey, speaking of Michael Jordan, the Eagles, I'm customing. They're almost done, but never seen before a midnight green 3. So,
what size is that?
Not your size, man. No,
it's
10. These are 10.5. These are from
That's my size, to be honest. That's what I'm wearing right now.
Nice.
Yeah. Might have to give me a price. I might buy some.
Yeah. It's just you find some Jays, man. Jays are ever since the documentary. It's been outrageous to buy Jordans.
Yeah. So to finish this up with Hurts, do you think it is a lack of arm talent or just purely just a lack of accuracy? Because I believe he has the arm. If you look at that playoff game, when he overthrew Quez 10 yards, that was like a 70-yard bomb.
I think it's accuracy. I think it's also mechanics.
Yeah.
He does like this heel click thing where, like, instead of just ripping it, he starts fading away. If it's a 3-step drop, it's 1, 2, 3, bang, throw it. Not 1, 2, 3. There's, and that's where the mechanic. When you see him miss, that's when I start seeing the mechanics. He's got to get his feet and his arm tied together, that's where you're hoping that he can get there, because it's not like dudes who are accurate are just accurate. And again, mechanics wise, I feel like he just has to play more consistent. That's exactly, at the end of the day, he has to be more consistent. Because to me, I'm like, I'll give him another year, but I haven't said, hey, he's franchise guy. Yeah. And I support my dude. Like, I went out and bought a damn Hurts. I had a whole rent is due blown up poster at the tailgate. I have the hold on. I got the
Wow, I'm an elephant, Richie.
we got the We got the custom.
Oh, heck yeah.
You know, no one has this. You know, this is custom made. You know, either way, I'm gonna support my QB. At the end of the day, like if I feel like I'm gonna support who plays under the center. Plays under the center for.
I mean, in
Eagles.
the end, bro, it's about the name on the front, not the name on the back.
Yeah, man. It's just, and it's funny how over the last 2 years, this fan base has been like so torn apart. Whether it's Wentz stands, Hurt stands, or just Eagles. Like I'm an Eagles stan, so it's not. It has nothing to do with. I ride for whoever's the QB, even if it's Minshew coming in for a week. Like,
what do you think the division has been over these last couple of years? Because I mean, you think about it, bro. We've never been this divided ever over any single player ever. Like, what is it?
I mean, the Cobb McNabb days. I remember arguing in chat rooms over Cobb being the guy, and like, you know, like I thought that was pretty, you know, like it's a little bit between like. Some of it's race, like, and some of it's just people just being stands for certain players and everything. I feel like at the end of the day that, you know, it's people get behind these takes where they can never be like, I see the faults in a player. It doesn't matter if I like them or not. Like I have to tell like it is, you know, like film doesn't lie either. So go back and watch the film. You can say the same thing about Wentz when he was failing with his accuracy. It was all mechanics. It was a lot of mechanics, but it was also he was getting hit and starting to get gun shy and all that, you know. But you know, I feel like if the Eagles make another move at QB, the timeline is about to explode. Especially if you get the wrong QB. Like imagine they bring Watson in here. I mean, you're talking about people who are going to be upset about like I can't root for that guy. Like I really, you know, and the stuff that I'm hearing is just like all over. Like now I'm hearing like Kyler Murray stuff. Like people are like, oh, Eagles are in on Kyle, because that's kind of weird in Arizona right now. Like that's what's going on with it's very weird.
It's all because of that one playoff game, dude. I'm telling you. Like, listen, that I'm what Kyler lost 7 of the last 8 without Hop.
They said body language was a big issue with even I see fans say it too. Like body language, there was a kind of like, you know, he's always been like a very quiet dude. Kyler Murray, he's not like a, you know, but like imagine them bringing like I at this point I'm asking around, dude. Like I'm like, what are you hearing? What are you hearing? And like you know, some of the people I know, they have agent friends that the talk is like the talk. So it's like you're just like always asking questions to the right people. Like, hey man, what are you hearing? and then you'll see it come out a couple weeks later, and then just like, you know, we'll see, man. It's gonna be this off season. I really feel like this is one of the most important off seasons that we've seen in a long. This could like wherever the direction goes, like we can either make a big splash move. This whole team could look completely like different. Like I think it could look completely different next season. This team.
Yeah, and that's what the scary part is, man. Because when you say it could look different, it could look drastically different. You know, like you said, Hurst could be completely gone. You might have Russell Wilson. I don't know. Like things can truly change in a matter of 3 months here. It's crazy. But in terms of not players, where you got to see Jonathan Gannon this whole season? You got to see Nick Sirianni. Now, it seems like everybody is okay with Nick. Everybody seems to be on Nick's side, even the fan base. Now I haven't seen too many fans say, "Oh, we need a new head coach." Nothing like that. So, how do you feel about these two? JG's coming back. He's not as welcomed, but do you think he can make that improvement next year to this defense that will make people kind of back off a little bit? And if he does, he's probably gone anyway. But
I think I met Gannon at the Eagles Autism Challenge. This is prior to not all Eagle fans knew who our defensive coordinator is by face. I walked up to him, said, "Hey man, I just want to welcome you to the Eagles." And I felt like he had presence. And I went back to, I was like, "Hey man, he's definitely a guy who I could see maybe being offered head coaching gigs." And people were like, "Oh, why are you saying that?" I'm like, "I'm just saying." He was offered, he got an opportunity to interview. But I think in terms of our defense and younger guys, it's always good to come back and play in the scheme that you just learned. You're relearning a new system. We talk about guys moving into a new system, talk about Fletcher Cox doing things that he doesn't want to be doing in this new system, and you have to adapt. So it's like coming back to a new system. I think anyone who was a good quarterback above knew the answers to the test, knew where you could attack us in the middle of the field. We were our linebacker play in coverage. Any tight end would eat. You take advantage of our safeties. The middle of the field was like 7-11 because it was always open. So it's like you saw Tom Brady dismantle this team mid-season, and every single quarterback after that was like, "Oh, Tom showed us the answer to this test. This is how you beat the Eagles." What was the 80% completion percentage?
Yeah,
like 5 straight weeks.
Yep.
Even Derek Carr was doing it. So again, you get better talent. Obviously, we love Kyle Hamilton. That kind of safety play on the back end with range. That would be nice. But it's just the fact that if you bring in another corner, I'd take another corner. Man, you get Sauce and you get Slay, or you get like a Booth, a young corner, and bring in some maybe a safety in the second round. What's his name? Jalen Petrie from Baylor. He's a guy that's interesting. With some versatility on the back end. You just like, all right, we got to bring pieces on the back end that could make plays, and that would help his defense. Like you're asking, like to me, like it became like redundant because, bro, who are you gonna put at linebacker right now?
Right.
The whole league, the whole league knows what we got. Davion Taylor, he started to show some. We're just hoping for Davion Taylor to start playing fast, and that's where we started to see. He tore his MCL as well. He hasn't shown that he can stay healthy, but you know how the defense is set up, man. Like again, you got to bring in better players to be better in coverage, and maybe we'll see a difference. I just feel like Slay in another corner in there, some safety play, linebacker play. I'd love to see them spend some capital. They're not gonna draft a linebacker in the first round.
Yeah, I didn't figure they would. I mean, we never do. Why would we do it now?
I told people, I'm like, yeah, they won a Super Bowl with Nigel Bradham and guys like Najee Good playing linebacker.
Yeah.
I was like, where do they spend their money? They spent it in the trenches, man.
Yeah,
that's where you spend the money.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's the thing. Like, that's why I don't want us to go and get like a Russell Wilson, because I would rather us throw the bag at like a Williams, safety from the Saints. If he wants the bag, go give it to him. That's just a need. That's a necessary need. We need that. Like I said, McLeod's leaving. I maybe or maybe not we sign Harris. I don't know.
Quandre Diggs, maybe.
Might, but I also like Epps as well. Epps proved a lot to me this year.
Yeah, he played fairly decent for his role.
Yeah.
Um, but still, you know, who else is available? Is Justin Reed available?
I don't know, but I know Matthew is or should be. Honey Badger. I mean, he's older, but he's still got it. You
Yeah.
know, but
I mean, at the end of the day, like upgrading the defense it's imperative. I think you just got to get players in here, and then you definitely have to go get some edge rushers. That's why I feel like
yes,
in the draft, like you could draft two defensive ends in the first round. I'm not even mad at it. I
yes,
mean, Jermaine Johnson is a guy I've been high on. Like, you know, Ojabo's there. He's a little raw, but
yeah.
shout out to Bobby Murphy in the chat.
Thank you.
I feel like no, I feel like there's a lot of edge, man. I mean, there's some guys that can come in first, second round, bring them in. There's some
Yeah.
DTs too, man. First, second, I'd say more second round if you want to wait into the second round and get some DTs. Um, Travis Jones from UConn made himself some money down at the Senior Bowl. You might go higher than expected now that he had a great pairing Winfrey from Oklahoma. He was the defensive MVP down there for the Senior Bowl. Yeah, I mean, like we all know Fletcher Cox. It's like, it's not his fault that the contract keeps getting pushed down the road. The kicking can't. That's not his fault. But
Yeah.
we know they got to get better. Like I would have. My guy was Jeffrey Simmons. Like I was like, draft Jeffrey Simmons. Like that's the replacement for Fletcher Cox. That way you don't have to go pay a Hargraves. You know what I mean? Like you could have got a Jeffrey Simmons in the draft for cheaper. But that's you got Williams in there, but you still need some more dogs.
Let me give you my scenario for this. All right, I know we need edge, and I dang sure want one. But in free agency, other than Williams and stuff, I've been toying with the notion of Von Miller or Chandler Jones. You get that veteran experience out there on the edge, to help Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
Granted they're 32, 33, but we've seen Chandler Jones can still ball. We know Von Miller can still ball. Look what he did for the Rams. So if he would become available, go that route, and then draft also at 15 like a Karlaftis or a Jones.
Yeah.
Or a Johnson, or a Jobo if he's even there. If any of these guys are even there by that point.
I've been watching a lot of Karlaftis too, man.
Yeah, no, he looks good. He does.
He's got a great story too.
Yeah.
Have you heard his backstory?
No, I have not yet.
Oh, dude, his parents met at Purdue. They end up going back to like Greece. He's like this Olympic. He started to become like this Olympic like water polo player, goalie or whatever. And he's like on the junior Olympic team at like 13 years old.
Wow.
Playing with the adults and everything. And then his father dies and has a heart attack at the age of like mid 40s. So his family moves from Greece all the way back to like his parents lived, like his mom grew up right around Purdue. So he goes back to, he's like hometown kid, barely knows English, becomes like a football stud in his teens, and then he ends up going back to Purdue because of his parents.
That's
like
cool.
And then he's a very driven dude, man. Like he's a very guy that writes up on the wall like quotes and shit, like crazy stuff, like like he's a self-motivator. Dude's like eating like beef liver. He's like worried about his body. Like he's very like he's got the jiu-jitsu background. Like he's all
That's
about
awesome.
like they had to like slow him down because he's just too intense. So
I like that though.
dude.
I like
really
that.
Good backstory though. Like go check out his stuff, man. They had him like top 10. Now they're saying he's sliding to the mid first, back at the end of the first. I'm like, we'll see.
Yeah. No, we will see. And if that happens, hey, lucky for us, I guess. But no lie, man, I have been stuck on this guy even before the season even started. I truly think he will be a great heir to Fletcher Cox. Man, at 16, I've had us the whole year so far. Jordan Davis, man.
I was gonna say it before you about let you say it.
Yeah, no, listen, I understand this kid only had 2 sacks this year, but man, the disruption that this kid would bring to this defensive front, teamed up with Hargraves, I can only imagine, man. Tell me how you feel about that.
Because I've been watching a lot of Jordan Davis, and just do they look at him as a situational player? Coming in as is he a 2-down player? Does he have enough stamina to last as a 3-down player? But I'm like, dude, he could destroy
right
teams on first and second. I just feel like, and then I was like, what if they made him lose weight too?
Right? Oh my God!
Because for his size, I mean, just go back and again, I encourage everyone to go back and watch film because then you get all the answers. He's got a quick first step for his size. Like, bro, that's the freaky shit when you see guys that big move that fast.
Yeah.
If he can put it together, I mean, again, you're not spending money on, but again, does he fit their scheme? Is exactly what they like? Can he play that Fletcher Cox role where, he's catching and Hargraves is doing damage? But either way, he's going to cause disruption.
Yes. And that's pretty much what I'm looking at, man. Because I mean, what, he's 6'6", 350, something like that. Dude. Like he's literally having a Jordan Mailata on the defensive side of the ball.
Like it's like, when you see guys that big move that fast, you're just like, it's just not normal.
Well, and not just that, dude, but I mean, I've watched this kid take on a triple team in college and stop the halfback in the backfield. Like, you can't do that in the NFL. If you triple team him in the NFL, that means you got 3 guys open. Somebody's going to die. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do that. So the odds are in anyone's favor who drafts him. I saw a mock draft today where they had him going to the Baltimore Ravens. And no lie, that scared the shit out of me, bro. I was like, dude, if Baltimore would get Jordan Davis, it is over. Like, that defensive line is just ridiculous now.
Well, the thing is, like, he didn't have a lot of snaps. In 2021 he played like 25.2 snaps per game, and then in 2020 he had 32.9 snaps per game. So it's like, if at this point in time, like, I feel like if you feel like you have a role for him, like you have a very specific role for him coming in as a rook, then okay. And again, can he be a 3-down? And then you're drafting. That's again, but again, like, if you are trying to strengthen up the trenches, he's a guy that's going to be just hanging out there. You ain't running up the middle on this dude. Well, I mean, Hargraves. Huh?
Do you think he'd fit us? Just your own personal preference? Do you think he'd fit?
I'm just wondering if they want that from, like, I don't know if he's the type of guy that they, I could see them wanting an edge player more so than him. Like, if you're not getting him, I mean, you got Wyatt as well, his teammate, and you also have, again, Travis Jones from UConn. Like, if you're looking for a guy in the second round that can eat up the middle, like, you're going to think about other options, because I'm hitting edge first. Like, that's where I'm hitting. And if a cornerback Booth's there, or maybe Gardner's there, I'm looking at those guys first. And then I feel like Davis will probably be off the board after those 2 picks, in between 15, 16, 17, 18. He could go right after those picks. So,
oh yeah, if he's on the board and we don't take him at 16, I expect that the Chargers take him.
Yeah, so
Honestly,
I don't like if he fell to that 19th pick again. Three first round picks for any draft geek is like, this is amazing. Like,
right?
especially being an Eagle fan, like every mock draft, like, yeah, I'll get all my guys. I'll even put a
Yeah.
linebacker in there, but we'll see.
Well, see, and that's what makes it hard to talk about draft talk, man, because we haven't even got through free agency yet. You know, I would like to see what we sign in free agency. That'll give me more of an idea of how we're going to go about the draft. You know,
Yeah,
because if we go out and we get like Williams in free agency, well, there goes safety. They're probably not going safety in the first 2 rounds. You know, if they go out and they get a edge guy, you know, like say a Riddick, even, you know, a Chandler Jones, a Von Miller, uh, you can probably kiss edge goodbye for the first round. I would say.
yeah. I think they have to go edge. There's no if
Oh
ands.
yeah, yeah. Edge is going to be
Like
taken.
they
Yes.
have to. They got a young. You get a young one and a old one.
Yeah.
Bring them both in. Like, I feel like, and that, you talk about the money that's paid.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather get me a cheap draft pick versus spending mad cash in the trenches if you don't have to, when you can draft a guy and hopefully set it and forget it.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I was saying. The only reason that I would bring in like a Vaughn or somebody like that is for the experience part, to teach the younger guys who we are drafting. You know, because I believe that is one of our biggest downfalls as an organization over the last probably 5-10 years, is we don't do enough in-house homegrown player development. You know, we always go for everyone's sloppy seconds, and I'm tired of that. I don't want to do that, you know. But
well, I think that we I do feel that, but in the same sense, I feel like we have hit on guys like Sweat and Melata,
yeah,
and then Avanti Maddox. You know what I mean? Like guys that we have developed some guys, but in the past, you're right. Like talking about wide receivers, like it's been how many guys that we've tried to develop at the position. You talk about, I feel like offensive line, we find some diamonds in the rough, but like defensively, we haven't developed a linebacker in a long time. We haven't had a safety. We haven't developed a safety. Well, I mean, Epps could be in that, but he's not a dude yet. But, TJ Edwards, we're developing him to a guy, but not like a dude. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm not taking anything away from
No, I feel
from him, but because I thought he made himself some money just by being competent, but yeah.
Can you kind of take me down a rabbit hole with Moorhead? Like I've been a very big advocate of seeing this man go. You know, last year we didn't kind of see the development with JJ, with Rager, or even Hightower, and now this year I don't give Moorhead that much credit for Smith. You know, Smith is his own dude. Like he's that talent. You know what I mean? But you still don't see the development with Rager and JJ and all these guys. Is Moorhead an issue for us as a wide receiver coach? Like, do we need to get someone in here who can develop them better?
Well, I mean, you could say, you saw Quez develop, like
but that's on his own doing, though. With him and Calvin Ridley in the offseason. He went down with Calvin Ridley and worked out. That's his doing. That ain't Moorhead's. Come on now.
It's funny that it's like, because I mean, you got to give him guys to work with, and I feel like when you give him like Greg Ward and you give him, I hat tip Greg Ward for who he is as a player, as a role player, but like Jay Jaw and Rager, and again, he had a relationship with Rager in the sense that he recruited Rager when he was in college, Moorhead, so he had, the back, I don't know how his influence on them selecting him, but I mean, they had an inside track on Rager with his dad being with the Eagles and a whole bunch of stuff. But I just felt like you got to get dudes in here, man. Like, I know Hightower. I heard that he had a lot of, I heard he had a lot of maturity issues. guy who was getting that separation, but just couldn't put it all together. You talk about Travis Fulgham, a guy who also dealt with some maturity issues. So, I mean, as much as I'd like to say, is it Moorhead? I still need you got to bring some dogs in there, man. Like some legit dogs, like alpha. Like you need another alpha in here, like a guy who's going to come in here and make plays. Like the other guys they're all vying, they're all coming into their own. This is some of these guys will be their third year, and this is supposed to be the year where wide receivers to get it. there's a lot of younger guys out here that are getting it in year one.
Yeah.
Jamar Chase,
Right.
So, at the end of the day, we need some dogs.
So, have you heard any birdies talking, free agency wise about we know that Smith said about a veteran wide receiver. We've all been calling for it, even us fans. Have you heard a little birdie talking about maybe like an Allen Robinson or maybe bringing like a Godwin home or, like we were talking about Mike Williams maybe?
Yeah, Mike Williams would be interesting. You're talking about that big body target, and if there's look at that kind of type of wide receiver, like diversifying your wide receiver group. I mean, the one common thing I've been hearing is Juju. That's the one thing that I've heard. Like, yeah, Juju. That sounds because I heard that they wanted Juju last year, but that didn't end up happening, and then here we are again, back at it.
Is there a reason for it?
On bringing him in
over Allen and Mike, would there be a reason for Juju coming here over them?
If you're talking about a guy who can get separation and work the middle of the field, like he's been shown to do it, I guess, I mean, for me, like I've been loving the idea of Godwin.
Me too.
What is it, Middleton, Delaware?
Yeah, Middleton, Delaware, and then Penn State. Yep.
Yeah, and then his wife is her father is he's like a high school legend as a high school coach down here in Delaware. Cool. So bring him home.
Bring him home. Yeah.
I know he's injured, but like if he wanted to be 20 minutes from the stadium, I live in Wilmington, so I'm like 20 minutes, 15 minutes from the stadium. So I mean, hey man, come on back. I wonder if he's an Eagle fan. Yeah. He's got to be. I think he might be an Eagle fan.
You should get in touch with him.
I might.
You got your connections. Come on now.
I slide in the DMs. Hey man, don't you want to be back? Because I already did this research already. Yeah. His girlfriend, his wife's father ended up taking a coaching job down south somewhere. So I was trying to tie the connection if his dad was still here, or if her dad was still in the area. But I'm like, he's not even coaching in Delaware anymore. But
he can always move back.
He's with his high school sweetheart. He was dating the coach's daughter.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, no, dude, I would probably flip shit if Godwin came to this team. I would be ecstatic. I know a lot of people out there, they're like, hey, he drops a lot of balls, but listen, he got thrown to 12 times before. Yeah, he's dropped 6 and he might have only caught 8, but guess what? That 8 was still over 100 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, the dude's a dog. Like, he will get you the yards. One way or another, he'll get them.
It'll be interesting to see what the landscape of Tampa looks like after life after Tom. Like who's going to stay. Yep. That's what I've heard. Fournette. I've heard Fournette love with the Eagles.
I would love that, dude. Oh my God, we've been missing that since Blunt, dude. We need another Blunt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, hey man, then this is we had our podcast today. It was 5 things the Eagles that Howie needed to do for the Eagles to get back to the Super Bowl, and just making an explosive offense. Like the fact if you added, if you just hypothetically speaking, you add a Juju and a Fournette, what's that do to our offense?
Explosive.
And then you could still add draft capital in like Traylon Burks from Arkansas. Like talk about diversifying your weapons already. Like Ivanti Smith, Traylon Burks, and Juju.
You really think they go 3 in a row at wide receiver?
Why not? If the board merits it, like
that'd be a new record, would it not? I don't think we've ever taken 3 wide receivers in the first back-to-back.
If you got 3 and you're keeping the 3, you have to like something's got to give, or you got to give. Yeah. You've got to give Jalen a weapon if you want Jalen to succeed here.
Yeah.
And Traylon, man. Whew. I mean, he's got a different skill set that none of our wideouts have. Yeah. You know what I mean? So again, like you just naming those 3 names, our offense looks completely different.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's the part where that's why I'm excited about.
Yeah, well, and I mean that's why I've always thought like if you went like the Mike Williams route, you know, he might be the cheaper end of those 3 that we're talking about. You know, you could probably get him for 2-3 years on that. I think he's only like 27, 28 maybe when the season starts, something like that.
He's a 50-50 specialist.
Yep. So that would leave you more cap room, and then maybe bring in like a DJ Chark. You know, he's 26.
Stretch the field.
You get rid of Rager, you get rid of JJ, and let Quez and DJ Chark battle it out for the slot position. You know, see, best man wins on that one. You know, there's a lot of people out there who want us to hit free agency and grab like a tight end, like Ebron, you know, or somebody in that nature. And I wanted to ask you that question next. Do you feel we need another tight end, or are you comfortable with Jackson and Stoll and them?
Well, I mean, I feel like, you know, in theory, you know, could Stoll be the guy that you develop? You know, Tyree Jackson, a guy who's been dealing with injuries. You know, he hasn't been able to like stay healthy. But you're talking about a tight end draft class that is, it might not have the, you know, the glaring number one. You know, Trey McBride out of Colorado State, but I think you're talking about you know, Jeremy Ruckert from Ohio State, Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina, Greg Dulcich, a guy from UCLA, who made himself some money down at the Senior Bowl. So I mean, this is actually a class where you can come in and you know, bring in some tight ends.
So, all in all, though, I got to ask, man, what do you feel and what direction do you think we're going to go this offseason? Like, in all honesty, do you look at this defense and offense and truly just look at it like it's all going to be new, like everything, or do you think it's going to, in hindsight, stay the same a little bit, if you know what I'm talking about?
I
do you see major pieces moving or just tiny pieces?
I think there's going to be a major change to our offense. Our offense is going to look different, and I do feel like why would Kelsey come back? Like, I know he's a leader of this team, but I feel like if I was going to tell Kelsey like why you need to come back this year, I'd have to sell him some real great things. Like why like it's something's got to look different. And I definitely feel like the passing attack will look a lot different. There's going to be that's why I'm really I probably say this shit every year. I'm so geek for next season, man. I can't wait, bro. Like I do. Yeah. I'm even more excited the fact that we have 3 first-round picks. But to me, that doesn't smell right. Having 3 first-round picks. There's something
Yeah.
I mean,
So
all the
so
stuff
say
that I'm hearing.
so
Crazy.
so say that nothing does happen, and we go forth with Jalen Hurts, and
Mm-hmm.
this is all just talk and hearsay. Do you see us holding on to all three, or do you see us moving that 19th? Because
I,
me
I,
personally, man, I say
I,
you got to build for 2022. I don't care about 2023. I want this year coming up. But
well,
what do you take?
you could also move down in the 20s if you have players in the range that you feel like are very similar and you're similar ranked and value wise. You can move back into the later 20s and still coop up a second, an
Mm-hmm.
extra second, like an extra third,
Yep.
by just doing that. And if they feel like the value round would be the late second or the third round where, they got players of need and they feel like they could fill the roster, I feel like, you can move back,
Yeah.
I just, man, I think it's gonna. I really feel like it's gonna be a big off season. Like I don't really. It's the Eagles. They got to make a splash, man. You can't just have James Harden up in here in the Sixers. It is. It is complete Sixers vibe right now in Philly. Everyone's just like it's Sixer town. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude, y'all
Uh,
better win, because if you don't, and we end up winning, y'all ain't gonna hear the end of it for me.
it's not Sixer town tonight as they are losing by 30 points right now. No, are they losing by 40 points right now? No, 93 to 56 is the score.
Holy crap! What'd y'all do?
Holy shit, dude! They're getting their
Who are
asses
they
kicked.
playing?
The Celtics.
Oh, Jordy's happy as hell right now. I can tell you that. I'm surprised he ain't in here talking mad crap right now, because he's a huge Celtics fan. Um, so let's get to the draft here. I want to know your three picks. If it is Gayle Saunders doing these draft picks, which I wish it was, honestly, to a point. What would Gayle do in our situation with 15, 16, and 19?
In a perfect world, I feel like whatever the way the board falls, right? I think I definitely would bring in Jermaine Johnson. So just talking about a guy who I feel like had a plan in place down at the Senior Bowl. I think for a guy to bet on himself, go to Florida State, leave a Georgia team that was stacked, bet on himself, go to Florida State, become ACC Defensive Player of the Year, and then come down to the Senior Bowl and then terrorize every offensive lineman down there. I think he made himself a lot of money. I think, if you're trying to go the, again, raw edge rusher in Ajabo, I think he shows a lot of athletic traits and he don't even know what he's doing yet. So for him to get to the quarterback the way he's been getting there, I think it's on pure athleticism. Tyler Linderbaum is another guy who, again, if you're even bringing him in to learn from, Kelsey, you got him in the waiting. So, could he be a guard? I don't know. He's kind of light. But I feel like he's a guy that could, again, if you're trying to do what Stout likes to do, like it's not a sexy pick, interior offensive line, but it's always think about the Eagles in the trenches. Cornerback, whether it be, Sauce is a guy who's been, gaining a lot of attention. He could move up, but, Andrew Booth from Clemson is another guy. You talk about adding a guy opposite Slay. And you groom this guy into becoming your CB1 in the future. I think that's where I'm at. Teaming up old with the young. I'm not saying Slay's old. I'm just saying it is what it is. Booth would be nice, and then again, you talked about Karlaftis. He's a guy that I like his game as well. But either you got options at edge, and then for me, I'm okay with drafting a wide receiver. bring in another guy, a playmaker. It is what it is. Like if the board is right there and you can upgrade this passing attack, you have to bring in another guy for Jalen Hurts, like another dog across the way. You know, again, if the Eagles do go free agency with a wide receiver, then I'm like, okay, then we can look elsewhere. And there's other guys, Pickens out of Georgia, Justin Ross at Clemson, you can go later, or a Christian Watson out of North Dakota State.
I like Watson, dude. I really like Watson.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that we were looking at him very intently before going out in the Senior Bowl, and he did everything and more. You know, you're talking about you know, like if you're gonna do that, that's fine. Go.
He's more of the second, right? Watson?
Yeah, second. You know, back into the second, third. Like I think he made him. He moved himself up. Because I mean he was getting busy on Kobe Bryant, career. Yeah. He was getting busy on everyone. He was.
Yeah, he's kind of. They say he's a Mike Evans 2.0, right?
I would say he's 6'4". He's a quick 6'4" dude. He runs small. Like he runs like a small dude. Like he's twitchy like a small dude. So, another small dude down at the Senior Bowl, Calvin Austin III, dude. Like couldn't cover out of Memphis. Check him out.
I'll have to look him up. Yeah.
Let me know what you think. He's a special teams slot burner. He's like 5'8", 165, 170. Wow. Track guy though. No one could cover him. But he's definitely you know, I don't think people would look at him like day 3, you know. Have you checked out Wan'Dale Robinson from Kentucky yet?
No, not yet. I didn't really do the wide receivers, man, because in all honesty, I really felt we were going to go wide receiver in free agency until I talked to you. So thanks. Now I got to go and watch wide receivers.
Because everyone's like, check out, like, you know, because everyone looks at, you know, it's a copycat league. You're like talking about these hybrid wide receivers that can, like, he's an interesting dude. Like, check him out. Like, there's a lot of good dudes that you think I could add to this wide receiver group if we don't go early.
Is there any Debos? Is there any Debos? Debos, like Debo Sam.
Oh, I mean, well, Traylon. Like he's from Arkansas. I'm saying rack ability. Like he's a guy. Gotcha. Go check his. Trying to think of the best game to watch, but he's a big dude, man. He's got size and speed combo that like a lot of people that you know, you can move him inside, outside. You know, Drake London from USC, basketball background, played at USC, decided to give up basketball to play strictly football. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that led the nation in contested catches. Where's number 15? I don't know, from USC. I don't want to scare anyone, but he's definitely. I ended up linking up with Lincoln Riley's assistant from USC down at the Senior Bowl. Mm-hmm. You know, she was super cool, and I was getting the intel from her about Drake London, what type of dude he was. Like, I'm like, is it real? Like, you know, she's like, oh my God, he's a great kid, no issues, super humble. The basketball background shows up on field, like he bodies everybody out. But you know, I don't mind. But like, hey, y'all, the way the board is set up right now, wide receiver Garrett Wilson out of Ohio State, he's a dog too. I mean, Olave, yeah, he's a route technician. Like he tells stories with his routes. He's just not the super, you know. He's got the speed, but he's just not like, you know. Olave's nice too, man. Olave is nice too. I mean, that's why Jameson Williams went to Alabama, because he couldn't get on the field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw a mock draft where they had us taking him at 19. How would you feel about that?
I mean, he got hurt. I mean, ACL.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know, man. I think we need we need immediate impact from our first round picks.
Yes.
There's no waiting. We're not built like that.
Well, and I agree with you, dude. Like, I'm really tired. I said it the other day on one of my shows that I was doing. I'm really tired of the pixie stick wide receivers, man. You know, the small frame. Not saying that Ivanti Smith is not a dog, but I don't want 6 foot 190 guys anymore. I'm ready to see us get into the 6'3", 6'4", 50-50 go getter type guys. You know,
So
I understand you need some speed, but that's what you have Smith for. Now go get me some big body wide receivers that can handle all the other stuff that he can't. You know what I'm saying?
So what you're describing is Traylon Burks, who's 6'3", 232. He led the SEC with 22 plays of 20 plus yards in 2021. Catch radius is crazy. 5XL gloves. That's what he wears. That's how big his hands are. You see a lot of one hand grabs. You'll see some sick catches. You talk about play strength. You talk about like there's a thing that I'm not saying he's Jamar Chase, but there's a thing he does with like his body size, like when the ball's in the air, like he can nudge a defender, just guide them out of the way with pure strength, and it's hilarious, dude. I just because I play wide receiver in college, so it's like when you see other guys that are big dudes play and do things that they do, you're just like, oh man, and the dude has speed. So I mean, this guy's he's a big body dude with speed. There's a play where against Alabama, he outruns the whole damn team, like catches a short route and takes the distance, and you're like, no way is the Crimson Tide not catching up with him. Like, come on, he was a local Arkansas kid, ended up staying at Arkansas. He could probably win anywhere he wanted to. But have you watched Traylon yet?
No. I have seen a little bit, but like I said, I didn't really scout wide receivers because I wasn't in that.
Watch him.
I will.
Watch it because then you're gonna be like, okay, man, this is the kind of guy that would change our wide receiver room.
Yeah. Now, can he play inside, or is he only?
He can play. No, he can play inside. They work him from the slot, and he's bodying people, dude. So definitely, I'm still.
Happy birthday, Birdman! Appreciate you coming through, bro. Happy birthday! I did not know that.
Happy birthday, Birdman. This guy.
Yeah, no, Birdman, you missed it already. We were talking a little bit. Well, you can go ahead. You were talking about Fournette.
Yeah, this dude was on top of out in Vegas living his best life. On the top of like some, I don't know where he was at. But shout out to you and wifey. Running backs, yeah, man. I feel like if they bring in Fournette, you might like that, Birdman.
Maybe. And dude, Miles Sanders and Fournette would be an excellent combo, honestly.
If Miles can stay healthy, man.
Right. I agree. No, that's I'm depressed because I'm a big Penn State fan, man, and I've always said I thought Miles Sanders had the ability to be better than Saquon. I really did, but his health is just not where I thought it would be.
I was like, get that man 15 carries a game. We get him 15 carries a game, and he got hurt. And then he broke a bone in his hand. Is that?
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like this is my thing. It's like, you play GM here. Are you giving him a contract?
No. I actually read an article. You look at the Rams this year. They won, and they really don't have a number one halfback. They don't. I mean, Eckler's.
They spent what a second round on Akers.
On Akers, yeah. And then what is it? Henderson. He was. They got him from another team, right?
Nah,
or
they
he was
drafted him.
undrafted or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they did it without a halfback that they really like. No first rounders. You know, you don't technically need a Zeke Elliott to win a Super Bowl. If
No,
you
no.
know,
I mean, we do have like the Wu-Tang of backs right now with like
yeah.
Gainwell, Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders. It's time to like really, like my thing is like give me a 3-down back where everything looks the same. Like anytime you got guys out here and they play off tendencies. You know what I mean? Like if you got one 3-down back, everything looks the same.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, bro. Is Jordan Howard on this team next year?
Not if they get Fournette.
Okay. Well, yeah, but say even without Fournette, just in general, is he on this team next year?
I think they might find himself a role. I mean, think about Jordan Howard, his little new birth of rebirth, if you say. Like I felt like he came into his own, looked good in camp.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah, if that's your cheap version, bring him in. He can play the role. Hey man, he can run the inside zone with anyone. Like foot up, he gets a foot in the ground and gets 5 yards. He's always, he can get 5 yards for you. He ain't gonna break nothing crazy, but he can run that, especially with a guy like Kelsey. Like those, I mean, it is what it is. But again, can he stay healthy too?
Yeah.
I'm always drafting him back in the mid rounds every year. I'm just like,
it's not a bad idea, honestly.
and I'm not paying and I have no, but I'm not paying for a running back.
Yeah, I'm not either. No,
I'm not giving
but especially after what
yeah.
he's given us the last 2 years. I'm not paying you that.
I mean, look at all the running backs that got hurt. All of them did, like Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin, Saquon,
Henry,
Mixon. Anyone who got paid got hurt.
Yeah. Or you got the ones that got paid and didn't do jack, like Elliott.
Yeah, I mean, Zeke. I mean, everyone that's got paid hasn't done anything after they got paid.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, dude. I take a lot of appreciation to our halfback room. I think we've always done good with our halfbacks. I mean, we've had Westbrook, we've had McCoy. We had Deuce Staley and Westbrook at one time. Like we've always had a running back by committee approach, and I don't mind that. Who's to say that we just need one? I'm actually intrigued with Notre Dame's halfback. If we could get him in like the 3rd or 4th round, that Kyron Williams kid, he's actually not bad. There's a couple halfbacks in this draft that would not be a bad second.
Ford from Cincinnati. No, he had a baby down there at the Senior Bowl, so I know his mind was on like other things besides just the Senior Bowl. I felt like Brian Robertson Jr. if you're looking for some power as well. What's his name? Damian, the running back from Florida.
Oh yeah,
Pierce. Is it Pierce? Damian Pierce.
Yeah,
he had a really good Senior Bowl down there. Thought he made himself some money. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I agree, Bobby. I don't know if you're paying for a guy who can't stay healthy. Just is what it is. It's availability. Is your best ability.
The only way he's paying Sanders is if he takes a
1-year deal,
a home discount.
1-year preview deal.
Yeah, something. But
he got juice. He got juice. I'm not gonna take that away from him. But it's just like I'm like Gainwell is like this is the other thing. How many touchdowns did Miles Sanders have last year?
I don't even know. Honestly, I don't. Off the top of my head, I don't.
He didn't have any.
That's why I said off the top of my head I don't know, because he didn't have any.
Let me make sure. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure you're right about that. Yeah.
he had 137 attempts in 2021, 0 touchdowns.
That's crazy. Can't have that, dude.
I mean, how many touchdowns did Kenneth Gainwell have?
What was it,
like
6?
Like 5.
5 or 6? Yeah.
Jordan Howard had 3. I'd even have to say Boston Scott had
1 or 2. One or 2.
He had 8.
What? He played that much? Really?
He had 7 TDs, and they had 1 in the postseason. So,
oh my god! Wow.
From a numbers perspective,
yeah,
just like, bro, like that doesn't.
He's already losing.
They don't even make sense. Like you like that doesn't even. I still can't believe he didn't score a touchdown this year.
Yeah, Lane Johnson had more touchdowns than Sanders. That's crazy.
This is true, Bobby.
So I got to ask you something, because I'm a little iffy on it. I'm not sure yet if Gainwell can be a 3-down back. Okay, I'm still a little. I love the kid. I love his talent. I love what he can do, but I'm just not sure if he can be that guy. You know, do you think he can at all?
I think he's the perfect change of pace back, and I think he's the perfect if you're looking for a 3rd down back with Miles Sanders will even tell you, which he did. He said he's the best, has the best hands in the running back room.
Yeah.
He ran a lot of plays from the slot in Memphis, so he's a natural when it comes to catching passes out of the backfield, I think, and he's perfect, and he's cheap, and he comes in and does what you need to do. He's the perfect kind of guy that you pair up with a Fournette or some other, guy that you can bring in here, like, and then, if that happens, Fournette, he always has injuries too, but I'm just saying, like, I would love to have Fournette. Do you remember that run he had against Ole Miss? He just bodied. It was unfair. Like he just threw the. He just Google Fournette Ole Miss. It should pop up. Ridiculous run. You're just like, bro, the guy's got a family. You know what I mean? But I think Gainwell, he's flashed over the whole season. Just talking about a guy that's saying,
just strictly if it was just him. Like, if we got rid of Sanders, we didn't get Fournette, and Howard's not here, could he handle it by himself?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think he's built for that type of thing.
That's why I feel like we're like the damn. I don't know how old you are, but like Voltron, like you form one running back, like you have like, or like we have like the Power Rangers committee of like different guys have different skill sets. Like we're the Swiss Army knife with like 4 different dudes. Like give me 2 dudes.
Kind of like how the Browns are with Hunt and
Kareem Hunt and Chubb.
Yeah, that's a duo. That's
that's like let's not have like 5 guys on the roster. Let's have like 2, and then your 3rd guy can be a special teams or a Boston Scott type. How about Boston Scott though? That guy's like the human Care Bear. He's out here always showing through. He's a guy that
we don't do that though, bro. I mean, look at Corey Clement. Look at these guys that we've had over the last 4 years. I mean, there's some people out there that truly thought Corey Clement should have stayed. There's some out here that think Josh Adams should have stayed. But we always get rid of these guys. And everybody gets mad about it. I'm not going to be mad if Boston Scott leaves. I'm not, because we don't use him into the point to where I should be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just feel like he's a utility guy when his number's always been called, he's usually, came up. And shout out to AJ Dillon. That's my friend's son. So like I've known AJ.
God, if we could get him, dude, I'd be so happy.
Oh man, as soon as he broke a run, it was against Louisville, his first year as a freshman. I said he got a second round grade already for me. Like I said, I was like, it's crazy. But yeah, man, I've been watching AJ since he was a kid. Like that's what I'm Jones and Dillon. That's a super nice combo. And Dillon's built for the playoffs too. His running style. Yeah.
When's he become available? Do you know? Is it next year or the year after?
I think the year after.
Oh, too far away then.
Hey man, hey. But his our best friends got married. So she was the maid of honor and I was the best man.
Well, hey, when he becomes a free agent, then you got the ear in, man. Just keep whispering in his ear, come to Philly. Come to Philly.
Hey man, we have the best we have the best sheets ever.
Right? Best sheets, you got the best O-line.
Nah, he's got a great family. His grandfather was actually he was in the NFL as well. Was like Joe Theismann's like main receiver at Notre Dame.
Cool.
And then he ended up playing for the New York Giants. But yeah, you talk about a kid that's always been built different. Like he ended up going to like a private school. Like he was gonna be the man up in where we're from and everything. Yeah. Decided not to. He left to go to like like to leave home and be that like focused. And ever since he was a kid, dude, like you just like that's what it takes to get to the NFL. Like some of these kids, like you see it right away, man. He's definitely one of those dudes.
So I gotta ask you just a few more questions here, then I'll let you go. We've been on for an hour, 40 minutes. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. Everyone in here, I'm pretty sure you are, but if you're not, I don't know what rock you've lived under, but definitely go sub up my man here in the 4th and John. These guys do excellent work and great content, and they're always at the games, man. So I appreciate you taking the time to come talk to me, dude.
I always love talking to Eagles, man. This is
yeah.
I do it every day, so
yeah, and I'll be to a lot more games this year, so I will definitely be hanging out more.
For sure.
But what now? We were talking about Fletcher Cox earlier about kicking his contract down the road all the time. Do you think this is the year that they finally pull the string on that? Now it probably won't be till the trade deadline, obviously, like we did with Zach Ertz. But do you feel like this is that year, or do you think he's truly going to retire an Eagle?
I think it's super expensive to what is it, his 2022 numbers, right? The dead cap is 40 mil. I mean, his cap hit is 14 million for 22. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna. It's just, are they gonna eat all that money? You know what I mean? Like I think he'll be here another year, and then you figure it out. You know what I mean? It's still like I'm looking at his contract now. Like, well, they said the 2023 and 2024 are dummy years.
Yeah. So
they automatically void 6.4 million of dead cap in 2023 and 2024. It just is what it is. Like you know how they use these guys. I mean, they use like Lane Johnson and Fletcher Cox. They've used their contracts, and like it's what they do. It's just hopefully, they had like some kind of trade mid-season that didn't happen.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah, who was that too? By the way, I forget.
I don't even know. But again, I mean, I don't like. People might think he's done, but again, he might be in the wrong system.
Yeah.
He's definitely frustrated. Like, you got him doing shit that he's not used to doing. Like, and again, affected his numbers, and it is what it is. Like, he is getting older. You gotta have a plan in place for him. And it's not his fault that Howie's the one kicking the can down the street. So like, as much as like, yeah, it's is he like, you know, he's not in Aaron Donald's breath, but he's in his own lower tier of like, you know, solid defensive tackle in the league. You still gotta pay him, and Hargrave was eating because he was catching the double teams most of the time, Cox. So, but I know people watch some of this tape and like, oh, he's not. So I'd like to see if they change some things up for him, but it is what he'll be here.
Well, and my only thing is, man, like sometimes, you know, like for instance, the Alshon Jeffrey thing, holding on to him too long. Djax holding on to him too long. You know, I don't want. I love Fletch. We all love Fletch. He's a legend in Philly. He always will be. You know, and my whole thing though is if he can't run JG's scheme and say Williams can, you know, I don't want them to play Cox because they're obligated to, even though he can't do what they want him to do. You know, I don't want them to stall out our defensive line for just one guy because it's Fletcher Cox. You know what I'm saying? Like if he can't produce and he can't do the things that JG wants him to do, but Milton Williams can, then Milton Williams should be your starter, not Cox, and use Cox as a rotation piece. You know what I mean? But I feel with Cox being here, he's only going to stunt that to a point, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, it's just like it's like at the end of the day, your best option is going to be Cox, whether you like it or not. Like even if he's not his former self, he's still better than what you have. You know what I mean? You know, I remember talking to Elijah Qualls one time. Showed up to our tailgate, and it was just, I'm like, what the hell? First of all, what the hell are you doing here? Like, he's in his Eagle. He's like, oh, I just wanted to come out and hang out. I'm like, don't you? He's like, oh, I was deactivated for today. But I was asking him, I was like, what is it about Fletcher Cox that makes him so different than the rest? He's just like, he's so goddamn strong. He said his strength is out of this world. It's like, it's like country farm boy strength. Like
he's got the cornbread fed type thing going on.
He's like, he just moves differently than anyone on our team. And I think, you know, at the end of the day, I still feel like he can, you know, I feel like he is the key cog that helps maintain the, you know, the middle of the field. Like if you lose a Cox like that, watch what happens in the middle of the field. You know, you might say, you know, he's not whatever. I just feel like, you know, you lose a Cox, you'll see what happens to the middle of the field. But
so yeah, I take it from that remark. You just don't have the faith in Milton Williams yet to handle what he can do.
I think Milton Williams I think he's on his way. I think he's on his way. But you just have to know that. Do you have a plan for these guys? Because obviously, when was the last time you seen Fletcher Cox speak out about how upset he was with the way?
Been a long time, if ever.
We had Jerry Ball. He was he was an all-pro defensive lineman from the Lions, and he was one of the first defensive tackles in like a Bill Belichick scheme. And he talked about moving schemes and being like, he was the Vince Wilfork before Vince Wilfork.
Gotcha.
Like he was the prototype. But he said, he's like, I had to catch. Like I was used to attacking upfield. Now I had to catch. Now I'm taking all the double teams. And I asked him, I said, what is that like being, you know, going to change your like, can you understand Fletcher Cox's frustration? He's like, yeah. He's like, it's very frustrating because now you're taking on, you know, punishment, and you're letting, for the betterment of the defense, you have to take on more double teams. And he sees like, oh, he has to catch. That means he has to take he's getting hit. he's taking all the punishment. Meanwhile, Hargrave is eating. It is what it is. Like, and I'm sure. I was at one play. He's like, I don't get paid to.
Oh yeah, he's like, I don't get paid to cover people. I get paid to pass rush.
Yeah, he had him out here covering a screen or something like that.
Yeah,
that's just hey, it is what like you gotta let him. He's used to attacking.
Yeah,
but again, you do have to play in the system that you play in. So again, well, like how many times do we see Slay out here playing off coverage, and you're like, bro, come on, man, this is Slay. He can do anything he wants. I think he's got to make adjustments.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna lead the last question into, because I think all of us can agree defenses win championships. Okay, they do. I mean, you look at the Rams this year, you look at all the Super Bowls, man. Defenses win championships. And I know one of the frustrations for Eagle fans this year was our defense. I know some people have been really hard on Nelson, even though I guess he didn't play as bad as what everyone thought he did. It just looked bad, but it wasn't as bad. Do you think that he takes everything that he learned this year and makes adjustments to his scheme to where he makes Cox happier, he makes Hargraves happier, and we kind of get that Schwartz type defense front line, at least, to where they're constantly always rushing, or do you think he just stays to the same thing?
I think he's going to make some. I do think he's going to make some changes. I think it's like funny, like we, a rookie head coach in Sirianni, a young quarterback in Jalen Hurts. Like, we expect him to make changes, right? Like, these coaches will learn from their mistakes. Like, I'm sure he's going to go back and regroup and figure out what the strengths of their defenses are and playing to those strengths. But I think you have to just infuse some more talent in here.
Yeah. I agree.
Aaron Donald is like, I love Aaron Donald, man. Like, dude's got abs, man. Like, defensive lineman with abs and twitch. Come on, man. Like, that should be a trivia question.
Dude, he reminds me of Terry Crews on The Longest Yard. Remember Terry in The Longest Yard? Yeah, how ripped he was. That's Aaron Donald. As a,
he ran like a 4.69.
Yeah,
40, and he got abs.
He's got abs.
A defensive lineman. Come on,
I know.
And he's his freak like strength coming out of Pitt. They don't make him like that, man. So, hey, do you all believe? Even Slay said it. He said best defensive player ever. Aaron Donald.
Really?
He said that, yeah.
I don't know if I could agree with that one, but
I was like Reggie White. Y'all, I mean, Reggie White.
Are we only talking ends here, or
best defensive lineman ever? Reggie White with the
man. I really throw Sapp up there in a very high regard. Like I was a huge Warren Sapp fan. Even though he never played for us, he was, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Warren Sapp used to come on my old website back in the day. It was random. I'm like, what are you doing on our website? You're like a Hall of Famer, dude. And he was just, he was friends with one of my buddies. And like, I mean, he was, again, for his stature, like, he just got in there and put in work. But like, I think I'd have to say Reggie White is one of the best defensive linemen that they'll say Lawrence Taylor. How old
was it in 88, 89 when we had that 12-game season? He had 20 sacks in 12 games or something like that. If we would have actually played a full season, like he would have destroyed LT's record. LT never would have probably even got the record because he had 20 sacks in 12 games. Like, come on.
Reggie had this club, man. This club was like, he would just club offensive linemen out of the way. It was like strength, pure, like fact that the Eagles let him walk out of Philly with his
I
wife
can't
said
believe that.
his wife said that they didn't even offer him a contract. He's like one of the biggest free agent signings. Then he goes to Green Bay and wins the Super Bowl. I was fucking pissed. And the fact that they let Reggie White and Brian Dawkins lead the Eagles, absurd.
Because you have context, did you ever I know probably back then you weren't in the game. I mean, I'm almost 34. Next month I'll be 34. I was born in 88. So,
yeah,
I'm still in the youngish area. I'm medium,
Mhm.
But have you ever heard a reason why we didn't offer Reggie anything? Like ever?
His wife said he was just, they had mentioned that like they had talks, and then his wife, like after they interviewed his wife, like after he passed away, he's like, yeah, he's like they never even offered.
It's dumb. Why?
Well, he was a big ticket item back then. That was like, but it was like, how could you not bring back Reggie?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just. I still to this day I'm like, it's just frustrating. I was just like, I mean,
I agree, Bobby. I agree.
Oh, yeah, I got the
Yeah.
poster behind me. Dude was like unreal.
Oh yeah,
I,
no,
I,
dude. That's the one jersey I've always wanted and I've never gotten. It is a white Reggie White jersey, 92. I've always wanted one.
I have that. Yeah, I had mine framed, and the frame fell off the wall, and the frame broke. I was pissed.
I like your Cunningham one up there too. I see it behind you.
Yeah, the Philly word art. You go check out the Philly word art too. He's got a lot of great stuff. But no, I think the fun people are like, oh, you get old, start getting older, whatever. I'm like, I think the fun thing as an Eagle fan is now you get to see different eras, and then as you grow older, you're like, you have reference. Like now I look at like guys like Ray Dininger. I'm like, dude's seen everything, dude. Yeah, Bobby's right, man. Norman Brayton was a cheap ass.
Yeah.
It's crazy to me. Crazy, man. Legendary, like legendary stuff. I think my boy Prime, he was telling us a story about like he went to some kind. I think he was at the service where they announced that Reggie White died, and I was like, "Damn, dude! Like that's some crazy shit." And then Jerome Brown dying. I'm like that defensive line was crazy, like bro, like good times, man.
Yeah, Johnson had that line on lock, dude. He really did. Like that was the most disgusting defensive play I've seen in a long time, man. I wish we could get that defense back, to be honest, man. That would do wonders right now.
We had like Eric Allen, we had like Seth Joyner, we had like
Yep.
it was crazy, man. Good times, man.
Yeah. No, I feel you. It is. And, man, we'd be here all night talking about this shit if we kept going. But it is getting on 2 hours, man. I do appreciate you. Like I said earlier, I appreciate you taking the time to do this for me. I know you're busy. But we haven't talked in so many months, dude. Since we had the open practice, at the beginning of the year. That's the last time we talked. So
that was good seeing you out there, man. I definitely you got to come on some more road games, dude.
I wish I could, man, but I got kids, and one of my kids have Downs, so traveling stuff like that, it's a little harder. He's just learning how to walk and stuff. So,
right.
But I would love to go to some road games, man. I haven't even been to an Eagles game yet. Believe it or not, I've never been to one. I've been to over 150 Philadelphia Philly games. I was there in 2009 when we won the World Series, the very last game. But I've never been to an Eagles game.
We're gonna have to get.
I'm trying, man. I was supposed to go to the Kansas City game this year, but I kind of got screwed out of that one. So,
I'll definitely take you next year.
I'd appreciate that, bro. That'd be fun. I only live an hour and a half away. I don't know why I haven't gone. Don't ask me why I haven't. I just haven't.
See your face the first time you're in the Eagles, because you're probably gonna cry like a little bitch. Because I did too.
Oh, I won't mind.
I
I
was
will.
like, it was like church. I was like, I can't believe this is. I'm finally watching this live. It was such a like out of body experience. So like to watch an Eagle fan see that for the first time, like that's worth.
Well, I mean, listen, man. When we were at that open practice, like I wasn't sitting with you that day, but you asked JC. I was just in awe. Like,
Oh yeah,
it's a lot different in person. But I know a game is nowhere near what that practice was, and I've seen your seat, and I've seen your seats that you have, and it's like, oh my god, if that was the case, and I was sitting down there, I'd lose my fucking mind. I really would, dude. Like,
yeah. My shout out to my boy. He didn't end up going to any games this year. So I just
oh
bought
wow.
all his seats for the whole year. I was like, these are the best seats ever.
But yeah,
'Cause I
man,
don't.
no, I would be honored to go to the one for sure, man. I've never been to one. Like I said, I want to. I don't know. As a kid, man, it just wasn't that big of a deal to me. I went when I could, and my brother was a Washington fan. My dad kind of supported Washington as well. They weren't Eagle fans, so nobody was really up in my ear to go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm the only Eagle fan in my family. Everyone else is something different. So,
That's hilarious. Nah, I mean, once you go, I think I didn't start going until I was in my late. I didn't start going until my 30s. I
okay.
would go. I would go to games up north,
Yeah.
um, but never. I was like, I never had to be. I never even started tailgating until my 30s. So I was just like the whole lifestyle was like, oh my god, this is a whole. People really do that shit down here, like
Right.
the tailgating, the like partying. Like I'm like, these are all my people. Like these are all the people that I could do this every week. And then here we are 6 years later.
Yeah. Well, and I've already had that planned, man. Like, if I can't make it to any games this year for some reason, I'm definitely going down the tailgate multiple times this year. I will be down there just to do that, for crying out loud. Like, I would rather be tailgating than watching it at home on my TV.
Yeah, man, everything's free, man. Like just come down. We'll take care of you guys. Have a good time.
Appreciate
Yeah,
that. Yeah, it would
boy,
only be me anyway.
my boy came out
I,
from
I won't trust my 5-year-old daughter to come down there yet, dude. I'd probably she'd run off and I'd never see her again.
yeah. Let's make it happen though, for sure.
I appreciate that, man. Thank you for the offer. We will get it done somehow, some way. We got plenty of time. So, but yeah, man, why don't you give you and your guys a shout out here? Say any last statements you want to make, and we'll
Yeah,
get out of here.
shout out to my guys Evan, Prime, Chris Malley, Fourth and John. Check out our Fourth and John podcast, Fourth and John on all socials. We'll be doing our Talk the Prospect series where we're gonna be talking with a lot of these first and second round prospects. I mean, we ended up linking up with Kenny Pickett. We linked up with Malik Willis. A lot of guys, that are going to go in the first, second round. This is the first time we got an opportunity to go down to the Senior Bowl and meet these players and scout these players. So it's been a great experience over the last couple of weeks. Definitely want to share some of our, we're all out here watching film, trying to give, players, shine the light on them for who they are as players, but also sharing nuggets of information with Eagle fans. Like, you got a player you want me to check out, let me know. You want to have some guys that I'm watching that I want you to go watch, just let me know. Just hit my DMs. Yeah, man, check us out at Fourth and John, and check me out at Eagle Sessions on Twitter.
Oh yeah, I can put that down for that. There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's at Eagle Sessions right there. Yeah, man, no lie. Shout out to you again. Like I said, that live practice we went to, that was awesome. Meeting you was cool. Meeting Prime was really cool. And all the other people, I can't remember everyone, honestly. There was so much going on that day. I don't remember, but I do
Yeah,
remember you trying.
I remember your face. You was like, he's got the Eagles junk face on.
Yeah,
He's like
yeah,
in heaven. And JC was the same way. He was like, I was like,
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
That's great,
you think you love that face. Wait until you see it whenever it's my first time for a game, honestly. Like you said, I probably will cry. I'll be a little bitch and I won't care.
It's all good, man. Hey, man, that's what it's all about, man. Like after going through all the stuff we've been going through the last couple of years, the pandemic and everything, just get an opportunity to be out there and enjoying your Eagles and just letting it rip, having a good time. Life is short, man. You really have to take advantage of these moments that you can when you get a chance, man. It's always good to take advantage of just having a moment.
I feel you, man. And no lie, dude. My great friend and co-host of our Eats Meets West channel, he makes a valid point. We would love to have you and all the Fourth and John on someday here soon. Just to talk and just bullshit Eagles talk, man. Me, you, Prime,
Yeah.
Nick,
No
3,
doubt.
all of us. All 6 of us. Just have a live. If you're down.
Let us know when.
All right, sounds good. Well, listen, guys, I appreciate everyone who has came out tonight and kept the chat live. Nest Out West, Taco, Bobby, all you guys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you. We have been live for 2 hours and 6 minutes. I've taken up enough of this man's time. I'm going to go have some family time. So is he. But until next time, I am AK Eagles from the Eagles Uncensored podcast. I may fuss and cuss, but you can count on me and my content like the fucking city bus. And if you like the Wagyu, subscribe too. You know what it is, guys. Peace out. Fly, Eagles, fly. We are out. Later.
Go Birds.